Beyond is curated with passion, a passion for bringing out quality content, making it clickable, trying to stay resilient and consistent, and remark the hustles around profession. Needless to say, a lot of learning on the way. This journey has been a remarkable gear shift in my life, and as I have started enjoying the virtual content, both curating and viewing, broadening my view and learn two cents about the culture that's set in. Today, I bring in my guest who doesn't have a profession, but has a buffet of professions. He started his journey in advertising, moved to karaoke, did exceptionally well in DJing, and now is a proud actor, DJ, karaoke artist, singer, writer. And I don't think I'm updated to this minute which other profession he's added to the overflowing bucket. Let's the talented hunk, Martin D'Souza. Hey, Martin.
Thank you.
Hello.
I'm very well. Thank you so much, Priyanka. And thank you so much for that really generous introduction.
Thank you so much for joining us today. And this has been a remarkable journey. 10 years you have managed to sail through in so many boats, all along very, very well. I bet that smile of yours covered up for a lot of go-karts. But tell me, how did you progress
Yeah.
so much? How is it like donning so many hats at once?
As a person, I like to keep myself busy. So that's one of the reasons why I like doing so many things, at the same time. Also, when I was in college, I think the foundation that I had was very different because we used to go for a lot of college competitions. So we used to take part in a variety of competitions. So I used to do a lot of public speaking related events. I used to do a lot of theater. I used to do some kind of music related events. So all of that kind of came together. And after college, I didn't think too much of it because I didn't look at it as a profession. I just looked at it as, I was in college and I was having fun doing this and I really enjoyed myself a lot. Advertising was more from a professional perspective, right? Because it's a career that you look at once you graduate from college. And that's how I got into advertising because I love creativity. I love creative things and I love brands. That's one of the reasons I joined advertising. And I soon realized that, hey, there are so many other things I'd like to be doing. And maybe I should, take a break and do these many things. And that break has lasted for almost 10 years now. And I've been doing all these things that you mentioned.
I understand entertainment industry offers you a lot, but picking up a new profession each day and adding to the never-ending list, you have inspired a lot of many who would follow you and know you in person. For all those who admire your skills to be able to juggle between the contexts so very well, tell us, how does one stay relevant and on the top of the game in each of the discipline? Like Jeff Bezos also says that in the era of
Yeah.
specialist, a generalist is a specialist in multiple fields, and you are the perfect example of that. What does a routine of Martin looks like?
Oh man. Okay. Pre-COVID era, the routine was very different from what it is now. But I'm glad that people are inspired and drawing inspiration from a lot of people who do these things in certain fields. And it's a lot of hard work, and the learning never stops. And I think that's the most important aspect of it. So even when I was doing this from college and after I quit advertising, I constantly kept learning. I still do, even now during the COVID times. I'm still practicing how to DJ. It's been a few years, but I still like to practice. I still like to kind of pick up new skills, work on new music. It's a lot of planning because when I had gigs, I start off say by 9 or 10 p.m. in the night and go until 1 Bangalore timings. Or if I'm traveling, and travel schedules are really hectic, so no sleep, you're constantly on the move, you're living out of a suitcase, and that time it gets really difficult because I need to focus on my health, I need to focus on my fitness, I need to be mentally fresh to do whatever I am doing, because most of the fields that I'm in are creative fields, and they are art, and you need to be able to think fresh. And I think that is the biggest challenge, to be able to balance all of them. Lack of sleep was the biggest issue for me. Of course, now again times are very, very different, but back then lack of sleep was a big issue for me. So I used to get onto a flight, I'm constantly working on my laptop. I get off a flight, I'm in the cab, I'm constantly working on my laptop. I'm on my phone, getting phone calls, sending messages, sending emails out, trying to learn new things at the same time. So it was very, very crazy, but I liked that lifestyle. I really liked the busy lifestyle and I really enjoyed it. I think it kind of inspired me to work harder and do much better. Of course, I think we also, in the entertainment industry, you live in this bubble of people all around you who are also working so hard, right? And there's everyone's just so good with what they do, and it constantly keeps you going and keeps you on the edge, and you want to learn and you want to get better. I think it's that people around you are inspiring you constantly, and you want to do better and learn a lot more for yourself.
How difficult was it to switch contexts, like in a modeling assignment or in an advertisement? You have a different landscape, or you have a
Yeah.
different mindset altogether. But if you are in a club, you're playing and you are making everybody dance and enjoy. That is a total different craziness that I would call. How were you able
Yeah.
to juggle so much in just a couple of minutes? In fact.
So, there are like certain similarities between an acting job and me being at the console. So, for example, when I'm acting and when I'm shooting and I'm in front of the camera, there I need to picture the scenario and behave in a certain manner. Right? I might not be in that mood, but I need to present myself to be in that kind of a mood. And when I go to a club, even if I'm really tired or if I'm not in the mood or if I'm really upset about something, I can't show it. I still have to entertain. So I think that entertainment aspect comes into both acting and at the console when I'm DJing. So that kind of is the common platform between both. So there are times, obviously, that I might not be in the greatest of moods, but I still have to entertain people around me, play music, and have the same kind of energy that they have, because you kind of feed off energy. That's what you do when you're at the console and people are on the dance floor. When you're at a shoot, of course, people around you expect a certain kind of emotions or actions coming out of you, right? So you need to be in a very, very different mental state to be able to do that. But then again, you come back here, there's energy all around you, and you need to kind of draw from that energy and deliver, I guess.
You are actually masking your moods and giving out what's required by your either your casting agency or your crowd, and I think that's what entertainers do, right?
Yeah, so that is what most of the entertainers do. See, not everyone has such a happy life,
Correct.
because there's so much stress that you go through every day, and it's not, you can't constantly keep smiling, but that's the challenge.
Yeah.
Because here you're not entertaining yourself, you're entertaining a lot of other people around you, and you need to be able to present yourself in a certain manner where they expect or they think that you're that energetic or you're giving out those kind of vibes. So yeah, it's pretty much a lot of acting. Of course, a lot of times I'm generally a very happy-go person, and I'm generally very vivacious about life.
Yeah.
But like I said, when we travel or when you're running around from a shoot back to a gig, it gets tiring and it really gets to you. But that is the challenge, where you need to have that kind of energy and just smile through the day and the night.
And I don't think that's very difficult for you.
Thank you.
There has been a sea change in every profession that we see due to COVID. It's evolving at a pace that's hard to catch on. Shadi.com came up with meet and greet online. Online dating is at an all time high. Online gaming has reached its new heights. Family Zoom calls are now the new get togethers. Conferences, employee engagement, marriages are all gone online. What has been the evolution in your profession that you master, and which was your favorite? Help us experience a vibe of the online party.
So when it comes to an online party, the vibe is very different, right? And for all us artists, I think it hit us really hard when we had to shift from being in front of people to being in front of people with a screen in between us, right? And I think it was a very big challenge, a very big mental shift for all of us, because when you are with people or when you are around people, it's much easier to connect with them. But when you see people on a Zoom call, and they're sitting in the comforts of their homes or in their offices, and you're at your home or you're in a studio, and you're trying to get them to have the same vibe as you are. It's very, very difficult, and I think that was one of the biggest challenges. It still is, because here you have to work much harder. You have to put in a lot more energy to get people engaged, because you're sitting at home. I can just switch off any time, and you're not looking at me at any given point of time. I can just go out, grab a glass of water, come back and sit, and you probably wouldn't even have an idea of what is happening, at this end. So it's a very different environment also, where you are performing from. The vibe is very different from where I am sitting. I might be in a really noisy place or a really quiet place. So for me to get the same kind of energy that you are on is very, very difficult. And I think that has been the biggest challenge for most of the artists during these COVID times. The other difference that I've noticed, and I was having a discussion about this with a fellow DJ yesterday, was how all of us are not only being artists, but we're also becoming technical people, because it's technology at the end of the day, and technology can fail any given point of time. Simple things like your internet can go off, the software just might not work. It happened to me last night. I was setting up. Ironically, I did a Zoom call party last night, and when I was testing it, it somehow just wasn't working. But when it started, everything was fine. So you can't really predict these things. There's only so much that you can do, but you need to also have a knowledge of these things now. So that's been a big learning curve for a lot of us, because in the last few months, we've been going through online lessons, speaking to fellow artists, speaking to tech geniuses, asking them what we can do, what our backup plans are. But at the end of the day, you rely on the internet, and it's very unstable nowadays, obviously also because of the kind of load that it's taking. So it's a very big challenge, but survival is the key, and we have to adapt to what circumstances we've been put in.
What is the percentage of online parties to the actual parties?
So I used to do 5 to 6 gigs a week on an average. It's not the same now. It's a lot lesser. The novelty of it also, I feel, has reduced, because when this started off, it was a new thing, so people wanted to try it, right? And everyone's like, hey, let's just do this. Let's just get onto a Zoom party, and you can have alcohol at home. You can dance. You can just go take a break whenever you want. If you're bored, you can just walk off, and you're not being judged or you're not being seen. So it's absolutely fine, because you're in a very different environment at that point of time. But after a point of time, I think it also gets to you, because you miss having people around you. And I think most of us are social beings, and just not having people around you, and that kind of an environment, or a club environment where you have lights, you have that kind of a sound system, you have the bar, you have your friends around you, and you're not worried about going, shaking hands, hugging people, dancing with people, sweating it out. But now you're worried about so many things, right? And it's just so many things just running in your mind. I think that's the biggest issue. And another issue that I see is that a lot of people's incomes have been affected, including artists, including people who work in different sectors, right? People have taken pay cuts, people have lost jobs. So the income is really, really reduced. And I think that plays a big role in this as well, because you're thinking of so many other things. You have a lot of baggage in your mind over the last few months. So it's very difficult to get out of that zone and go party on a Zoom call.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, it's a challenge for us all, including artists, including the audience themselves. But I see the trend declining a little bit compared to how it was maybe 3 months back. So I see the frequency reducing. But of course, a lot of people are luckily enough open to experiment with this. And they also know what the drawbacks of doing this are. So I think that's the nice thing, that people understand that it's not the same environment that you get when you go visit a club or a pub. And it's very, very different when you're sitting at home, and everything's based on technology. So I'm so glad people have understood that aspect of it.
What about the evolution in the other industries that you operate in? Say, for example, acting, or say, for example, modeling and karaoke. How has that been panning out in these times?
So unfortunately, karaoke hasn't. Uh, we haven't been able to crack the karaoke bit of it too much because when you're on Zoom calls or when you're on any other internet-related platform, there is always going to be a lag. So if I run lyrics from my end or if I sing from my end, you're going to hear it maybe a second or two later than everybody else, and it comes down to your internet timing. So I think that has been a very difficult code to crack over the last few months. So we're still struggling with it. We're still trying to make some sense out of it, or try to salvage the situation. We're working on it, and hopefully it will be more smoother than it was before. With regard to acting and modeling, luckily enough, shoots have resumed, but it's a very, very different environment now. People are very careful. So the crew that you earlier used to have, I think, has been reduced drastically. Everyone's wearing masks. It's very difficult to do that, with working with masks and gloves in an environment like this, because when you're shooting, you have lights on, and the heat can really get to you. People are just constantly running around. You're changing the set constantly. As an actor or a model, you have makeup on your face, so you can't wear a mask all the time because the makeup comes off, and you can't keep reapplying the makeup because that is also a danger, right? So they're taking a lot of precautionary measures, and I'm really glad that the industry has adapted so quickly to a scenario like this. And people are doing whatever they can. I'm just glad they've all got their employment back and they're doing at least some kind of work.
But since you mentioned the COVID era and the cons it came with, I actually have to mention that not everybody has got their jobs back. Not everybody has got their salaries back. So it has
Yeah.
not only impacted their family and their spends, it has impacted their wellness as well, which is mostly to do with mental, right? What do you have to say about it? Like, are there any artists that you came across who needed?
Yeah, so I completely agree with you. I think it's been very tough on all of us, and I'm sure all of us as artists are all somehow in the similar mind frame. But for example, I have a lot of my gigs getting cancelled because of these times, and it's something very unplanned, right? So your finances go for a toss. Everything else that you plan for have just gone out of the window, and a lot of my payments are stuck. A lot of my payments are still pending because of the clubs and pubs being shut down. And I completely understand what situation they are in, and I'm sure they do understand what situation that we are in. But it's so unfortunate that nothing can be done about it, right? Because you need people in your venue. You need to be open. You need to do that kind of business to generate that kind of revenue to pay every employee of yours. So not only us, but it can be any person working directly or indirectly for any particular industry. Like you rightly said, a lot of people have taken this very badly, and I can see a lot of my own friends and colleagues who seem to have been affected by this very, very badly. And I think it's up to all of us to just reach out to everyone constantly, keep talking to them, keep connecting with them. If it's a phone call, if it's a message, kind of do that, because we just need to check on each other and just need to watch each other's backs. I think that is the biggest challenge that we are all facing during these times. And mental health is so important right now, especially during these times, because financially you've been very badly hit, socially you've been very badly hit, career wise it's taken a very, very big dip because you worked so hard towards achieving a certain goal, and it's just all gone down right now. And the issue is that you can't predict when everything is going to be back to normal, so you're so unsure of what is going to happen next. I think that also has a big negative impact on your mind. I really hope everyone out there are doing good, at least mentally, and just being strong. I mean, this too shall pass. But hey, just look out for each other, and just be there for each other. I think that's really important.
Yes. Uplifting has
Yeah,
never been this important. And these times when they pass, you will actually have a stronger bond with the person whom you checked on. And I think
true.
that's going to be commendable, right?
Yeah, yeah, true.
Oh. COVID era doesn't end here. The COVID era would definitely leave us with a lot of life lessons and a lot of skill development and time to reflect on our ways to approach life. Tell us what you think would be the scope for someone who's away from the entertainment industry, but might eventually have developed a liking during this phase since we've been all glued to and are relying on them to get entertained or engaged.
So again, now that a person has that kind of bandwidth or time to learn something, I think if you're interested in a certain profession, certain entertainment related profession, then this is the right time to put in all the effort to learn things. Of course, you won't be able to deliver it right now because of the lack of opportunities, but you can always be prepared. And I think it's like an exam that you study for, right? You just pick up all your skills, you continue learning. You never know when things will get back to a newer normal where you can present your talent to other people, right? So I think people should just continue working hard, learning new things, and working on the social media. I think that is something that is so important right now because a lot more people have been engaged on different social media platforms, and this is the right time to reach out to them. So if you're not already in the entertainment industry, maybe now is the time where you can give them a feeler of what you can do or what you're capable of doing. Maybe that can help. So people are looking out for you. People know that you have this certain kind of talent or a skill and that you will ultimately do something about it. Maybe that's something that they can work on. And it's something that all of us also can work on.
Correct, absolutely. Gaming up your social media game or any digital platform for that matter, it's the key right now. And everybody who's on different platforms can engage different kinds of audiences, and that's gonna pay off in the longer run. That's what is the hope.
Give it your best.
Exactly. Who thought a virus could affect everybody's life so much that all of us collectively come down to ground zero and everybody starts off afresh again? Like no one was prepared to go online as yet, other than the YouTubers, I'm sure. But
Yeah.
it's a terrible situation on one side, but it's a very a big learning curve for everybody else who's out there who wants to evolve themselves, who wants to adapt to the new technology. Right now, we see a lot of budding enthusiasts who are getting into various fields, doing way better than the ones who are actually in it because the rest of them haven't been able to evolve themselves. Right?
Yeah. I completely agree with you.
And plus, the collaborations have worked like miraculously. Like how you said, the tech yarn that you got from all the technicians. This was a collaboration itself. And I think that pans out the beauty of this COVID era where it gets all of us closer, even through Zoom.
So, yeah, I agree.
Okay, Martin, this was fabulous. We are just left with a small segment, which is called Rapid Fire. And needless to say, this is my...
Wow.
I'm going to be questioning you. You will have to choose. You will have to be undiplomatic. And you have to give... Okay? Let's see how far we make this.
Let's do this.
Question. Your first question. Joseph's or CMS?
Oh, man. I think Josephite by heart and CMS to mold me into who I am right now.
Okay. Again, diplomatic answer. Give me an answer which is not diplomatic.
This is something I really can't pick because both institutions are something I'm so connected to.
Absolutely.
So connected to.
Understand, which is why it's a fire round.
Oh man, Josephite for life.
Wow, okay. I hope your CMS friends and your colleagues do reach out to you after this.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be calling. Yeah.
The best parts about all your professions, starting off with DJing, acting, karaoke, and writing.
I think with DJing, the fact that I can make people dance to my tunes. With karaoke, that I have this ability to make people feel like rock stars. With writing, that I can express whatever I want just through a few words. And with acting, I think I can be someone that I am not at any given point of time.
And live their part of life. Great.
and live that part of life. Yeah.
A city other than Bangalore you love performing in.
Oh, man, I'm a thoroughbred Bangalorean, so there are a few cities that I actually like. I can't pick one particular city because I think I've had different experiences across the country.
Okay.
Um, I would say Chennai, Delhi, Bombay, and Goa.
You can't,
Goa.
you can't have so many options. You have to give me one.
I can't have so many options. Okay, Goa. Goa it is.
The parting.
Yeah,
Super.
yeah.
Okay. A project that is closest to you, acting or modeling.
Um, and there have been quite a few, but I think there was one that really changed my perspective about acting was when I took up this acting project
Mhm.
and I fumbled. I completely forgot my lines. It was a really simple project, but I was acting with of an actor who'd come down from LA to get into Bollywood in India, and he still does a lot of movies and serials right now. He's
Okay.
American, but I had to act with him, and he was so seasoned, right? And I was sitting with him and doing this particular scene, and I completely goofed up my line. So what I would have normally taken 10 minutes to do, I took 4 hours to do, and I think that was a big jolt for me because I just couldn't remember anything. I don't know, I just blanked out completely, and I think just because the director and this fellow actor was so supportive about the entire situation that I got through it. And that's something I'll never forget because now I'm a lot more aware of it. I'm a lot more confident about it because I know that if I can leave that behind and still uh, have a good product made out of it, then we all have hope and we all constantly keep learning. So that
Which brand was it for, or was it some a
it
series?
was It was for, I think it was for the British Education Council. I think it was for that.
Okay,
Yeah, it was about 10 years ago.
that's okay.
Yeah,
You were still a newbie, and we can excuse you for that. Don't worry.
yeah, yeah. I'm always a newbie, so it's good.
Okay, the most difficult client to work with.
The most difficult client to work with, I think, is when people think that because someone has paid for your services that they own you, and I think that's my biggest issue with people treating artists in a certain manner. Dealing with that particular type of uh,
Mindset.
negative attitude, yeah, is a
Right.
challenge. Yeah.
Yes, I understand. But has there been any boss of yours or any hirer or a client of yours who was something similar or who gave you a hard time in your early days?
Actually, I think I've been very blessed to have worked with great people, great club owners, pub owners, or corporate clients, or even event managers. I've never faced an issue as such dealing with them. Even if our thoughts never aligned, it never came down to disagreement. It always came down to a discussion. So, you give a little, and I'll give a little, and ultimately we please the client, and that's the main target. So I was very lucky in that aspect. Yeah, so there was one, oh man, now I remember. Okay, so there was one manager. I'm not going to take his name, but it was a property that I'd built for over many years. So we had a lot of regular clientele who used to come to that venue every, like, that once a week.
Okay.
And I remember this new manager came in and he suddenly changed the rules, and I wasn't informed about it because I walked into the venue, I went, set up, started playing music, and I'm just frantic. I'm getting so many phone calls, and people are like, "Hey, I'm getting stopped at the entrance. These guys are being really rude to me. They're not letting me in." And I was wondering what suddenly happened because these guys have been coming to the venue for so many months or so many years, and they're the ones who make up the venue, right? It's the certain kind of vibe that your regulars get in. And I
Correct.
was really shocked. So I walked up to I never leave my console otherwise. But that day I actually left my console, went to the entrance to figure out what's happening. And I saw this new manager has changed the rules completely, hasn't informed me about anything at all, and I had a very big standoff with him. I, in fact, fought with him at the end of the night. It takes a lot for me to, yell at somebody, but at that day, he was just so rude to people, and I can't take that. Someone being rude to people. At the end of the day, they're all customers, and more than customers, they were like friends and family to me at that particular venue. So I remember calling the owner in front of the manager and saying, "Hey, you know what? You don't change the rules. We discussed this at the end of the night. I'm going to call the owner right now. If you're not going to budge, I'm okay with shutting the gig down and leaving the venue. So here, speak to the owner." I told the owner the same thing as well, saying that they can't randomly change things and not inform an artist about it who has worked with them so regularly for so many years.
Correct. Yeah. Especially when it's about building the ambience and vibe that is coming to the fore. Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I'm sure you take the news now.
Yeah, now that you're telling me about this, now I'm like, oh man. Yeah, it was a very, very big standoff.
Okay. 3 places in Bangalore you want to perform, but you haven't got a chance yet.
One particular venue, because I personally like that venue, is Watson's Al-Sur. I've played at Watson's Indiranagar, but I love Watson's Al-Sur because they play a lot of retro music, and I love retro music, and I love playing retro music. So maybe that place. I just like the vibe. It's a very old Bangalore crowd. So these are faces that you've seen when you've been growing up, and when you used to go out partying. That's the kind of clientele, or that's the kind of audience that you see.
That every age group comes there. I don't think there's a bar at which you probably enjoy every kind of music. That's the place that gets you that vibe, right?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Super. Okay. After 20 years, what would be your pick? DJ Martin, actor Martin, singer Martin, or writer Martin?
Hopefully a very happy Martin.
That's all there.
Yeah, so I dream big, and I don't think there should be limits to dreams and what you want to achieve. I think a Grammy. I think singing or rapping, because it involves everything. So I think all aspects come together. Yeah.
Okay. So singer Martin, we take it, right?
Yeah, singer Martin. Let's take that.
A pro tip for all the budding entertainment enthusiasts out there.
I think hard work. It's just a lot of hard work and a lot of patience. It's I say this to a lot of people that I meet. So obviously I have people who've inspired me, different artists, be it actors or be it DJs, fellow DJs, who are my seniors, and I've seen them work, and I've seen them play at environments where there'll probably be 10 people on the dance floor, and this is a very seasoned artist, but they still play with the same enthusiasm as they would play to, say, 1,000 people, and that really gets me going. And I look at them perform, and I'm like, wow, that's the kind of mindset that I want to be in, and I need to be that strong about it. And I think it comes through, and it shows. Their hard work shows, because they're still entertaining 10 people, right? And they're still very mentally strong about having only 10 people on the dance floor, but not giving up and still playing to that crowd. It's all because of that strong base that they built, all that hard work and all that patience that shows. I think that's something that people trying to get into the industry need to follow.
Yeah. So anybody who wants to come in, make sure you have a lot of hard work and a bag full of patience, because this industry is right?
Yeah, a lot of patience.
I agree. Thank you, Martin. This was fabulous.
It's great what you're doing with this entire project, because like you said in the beginning, right, it's all about content. It's all about keeping people engaged. Also, it's a learning, because you've been talking to so many different kinds of people from across various fields and experiences, and the only thing that one can do is to learn from all these guys. And I'm privileged to be a part of this lineage. And thank you so much for having me over. I had a great time, and can't wait to see this final product online.
And thank you, Martin. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Priyanka. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Speak to you soon. Bye.
This time it will be offline and not online.
Definitely. Take care. Bye.